Best Country 106. It is 7:30, folks. Good morning. Dave the Weird Guy here with us. We've got a very special in-studio guest. I guess we can call you a guest. Jason Ricketts, who is a candidate for McCurtain County Sheriff. I will say that the following is a paid political interview that is being paid by the your committee.
Yes, sir.
So we do want to introduce Jason Ricketts. And Jason, before we really get started with a lot of the points that you wanted to bring up, there's a few questions I have for you that we would like to educate McCurtain County a little bit. You are a candidate for McCurtain County Sheriff.
That's correct.
Okay. So, few personal questions.
Oh, good. Don't get too personal.
No, don't worry about that. How old are you, Jason?
I am 43, be 44 in the month of June.
Okay. June what? So we can send your birthday card.
June 23rd.
June
Send me a
23rd.
gift, too. Don't send me a card. Put money in it.
You're like me. Very large, expensive gifts. Actually, what we're going to do here for a moment, folks, is go through Jason's resume. Tell us about your education. Where'd you go to school?
Went to school in Ardmore, Oklahoma, where I finished high school at. I've gotten my associates in, goodness gosh, where was that? Tishomingo College. Got an associate's degree there. And then the other college I have is through CLEAT, or training is through CLEAT, through my law enforcement career.
Okay, which is a perfect segue into your work experience.
Yes, sir.
Which includes
the Brokenville Police Department, where I started in '96. From there, I went to the McCurtain County Sheriff's Department. Spent the majority of my career in the Sheriff's Department, working in different areas of that agency. I left the Sheriff's Department because I was offered an opportunity to go to work for Mark Matloff as a criminal investigator, truancy officer, and also I did some probation work for the office.
You mean our district attorney, Mark Matloff?
Yes, sir. Mark Matloff.
The same one.
The same one. Yes, sir. Left there because I wanted to start my own business, and I started my own business doing armed private security and armed private investigations, which is certainly still a form of law enforcement and serving the community. So when I say I have 20 years, I'm including the last 2 years that I've been doing that on my own, and it is certainly running my own private business. So you have to have a certain amount of management skills in order to do that and keep it afloat.
Yeah. Boy, don't we all know that. So obviously when you're running your own business, you have a lot of experience with budgeting.
Yes, sir, I do.
Yeah.
Yes,
and when you start your own business, you have zero income, but you've got expenses.
You've got to get up and get out there and work, and you've got to be self-motivated. Otherwise, you're going to lose everything you own.
That's right. How is the business doing, just out of curiosity?
Very well. Very well.
Good.
Very well.
I can't imagine there's a strong, huge need for that here in McCurtain County, but maybe I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Oh, okay.
As far as investigations go, there's a huge need for it. I'm the only licensed armed private investigator between here and I think McAllister's the closest one.
So individuals could hire you, but could insurance companies hire you as well?
They do, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It ranges anywhere. And, my jobs have been ranging anywhere from the husband and wife battling over the child and the divorce, and one or the other wanting to prove something about the other one so they can have some dirty ammunition to go into. Basically, I kind of look at myself as the lawyers are the gunslingers, and I provide them with ammunition.
Okay.
And
interesting way to look at it.
That's kind of you got to give them the ammunition they need to go into court if there's anything there at all. Sometimes there's not. I make no promises. I just do the best I can.
And it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's right.
Somebody's got to do it.
That's it. And it might as well be you.
It might as well be me. I've got to pay the bills.
Okay, so speaking of paying the bills, you are a candidate for McCurtain County Sheriff. You are a Democrat, I would assume?
I am a Democrat.
Okay.
On paper.
Okay. So folks that are registered Democrats can vote in the primary election, which will be coming up on June 28th.
Yep.
So there are a variety of Democratic candidates.
There are.
But we're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about you.
That's correct.
So let's talk. Let's talk. That's right. You paid for it. So let's talk more about you.
Okay.
Let's talk about, and we'll just call it what it is, your outline.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Well, my candidate, or my platform, if you will, revolves around three areas. First area being more visibility, second area being more accountability, and the third area being more professionalism. And I'm going to start off by prefacing everything I'm going to say by saying I am not in the least way trying to degrade or make light of any of the hard work that our deputies do. They work long hours for little pay. Sometimes they're working alone and go into dangerous situations with little or no backup anywhere around them. These guys should be commended for all that they do. And I always tell people during my speakings when I've been around the county, if you see a deputy or you see a law enforcement officer, take time to pat them on the back, shake their hands, thank them for the hard work they do, because they're not doing it for the money.
Boy, ain't that the truth.
Having said that, I'd like to talk about the visibility part of my plan. A lot of people in McCurtain County do not realize that a deputy sheriff, no matter where they are, no matter where they take their reports, always have to go back to the Idabel Sheriff's Department in order to complete those reports. So let's say, for example, they're north or west of Valiant, Oklahoma, well, then they've got to drive 30 minutes from Valiant, 20 minutes from Valiant to get to Idabel to do their reports. And same true with Baptiste or Smithville. You get the point. Anywhere you are in this county, you've always got to go back to Idabel in order to complete your work.
It can't be filed electronically. It physically has to be done in the office.
It does that right now. My plan is to eliminate that need. Because if you drive in front of the Sheriff's Department, I know we've all done it, you'll see half a dozen Sheriff Patrol vehicles sitting out front at any given time, usually during the day and evening time hours. And supposedly they're supposed to be in there doing reports. That's the only reason why they should be in there. My goal is to create, if you will, for lack of a better term, annex offices in the different fire departments around our county. Every small community in this county has a rural fire department that is funded by taxpayer money. So therefore, you already got the infrastructure. Usually they've got the space in order for me to maybe provide a laptop, which that would truly be the only expense that the county is going to be out, is just the cost of a laptop. The internet access is already paid for via taxpayer money. The lights, everything around it is already paid for. The only thing that we're going to be out is maybe a laptop to provide. That way we can put our software on the laptop and give these deputies a place to come in the communities in order to do their laptop, in order to do their work in the communities where they belong. The places that are being robbed. Idabel has their own law enforcement. In my opinion, there's no need to have deputies sitting in Idabel. If I had a substation, say in Eagletown, for instance, and I have a deputy, and maybe I only have 3 deputies on duty. 4 deputies would be a great night. 3 deputies is probably average. If I have one of my deputies and I assign all 3 deputies in an area, I'd say, deputy number 1, you're going to work Coachtown. Number 2, you're in Eagletown, and deputy number 3, you're going to be south. And then this is excluding a north end deputy that I like to keep up at north end at Baptiste or Smithville full time. And these 3 or 4 deputies will be assigned areas within our county, our community, like maybe south of maybe Hayworth or Tom or anywhere around there. And the beautiful part about this plan is let's say my deputy has been working out of Hayworth for a week, and now we need to go Tom. You're not stagnant. You're not stuck to one area. They can then go down to another community and start working out of that community. So they can be moved around from community to community and stay in those communities where they belong, where they're visible, which will deter crime. And also it should cut back on fuel costs. I mean, you think about the fuel that you're spending driving back and forth to the Idabel Sheriff's Department after every call. There's no telling, there's no way of knowing, but it's got to be a cost saver.
Oh, absolutely. Well, in addition to that, the time, and I don't know what the overtime is for deputies, but I mean, I'm sure that if they've got to physically go to Idabel to write the reports and submit the reports, there's got to be some overtime that's being paid. I can't imagine they can get this done in a shift.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, especially depending on where you are. If you want to go to, even if you go to Hoachtown to take a report of a burglary at a cabin, man, you're talking 30 minutes to get to Hoachtown one way from Idabel, 30 minutes back. Well, that's an hour after you've already spent an hour taking the report. Well, there's 3 hours, and you've got another half hour to do your report. So where you at 2.5 hours on one call alone out of an 8-hour shift? Man, that's over a quarter of your shift working one report. So if I've got a deputy that's assigned to Hoachtown, that's assigned to Eagletown, they'll go 10-8, which is radio jargon for, hey, I'm working, and leave their house, go to the station where they're working out of for that shift, stay there, stay in that area. If they're needed elsewhere for whatever reason, go take care of another call, wherever it's at, if you're the closest to the call, but go back to your area and be visible right there where you belong. Be visible where the people need you. The visibility doesn't need to be in Idabel. Idabel's got their own police department. They've got enough visibility. The residents in these rural areas in our county, that's where they need to be seen. That's where the crime is happening. That's the McCurtain County Sheriff's Department's responsibility, not Idabel.
Perfect. Excellent. Let's move on to point number 2.
Point number 2 would be accountability. Now, accountability isn't just accountability. And I'm going to start off with the most important part of this point is officer safety. Because what I like to do is every deputy that we employ, that the Sheriff's Department employs, carries cell phones. Every cell phone carries GPS technology. I visited with Pine Telephone and I found out that it will cost us next to nothing to activate the GPSs on every one of their phones, to install the software at the dispatcher's office. And what that's going to do is that's going to give our dispatcher the ability to see where every one of our deputies are, their whole shift. So if they're out somewhere, and I hate to keep bringing this up, but it's a perfect point. When Officer Shyrock was unfortunately shot a couple weeks ago, that's a prime example of where that idea would have paid off tremendously. Fortunately, it worked out to where he's fine. They got to him quick enough. But let's say tragically, if for some reason he gets out somewhere and he didn't give clear directions on where he was at, and the same things have happened, he had been there by himself, and not having any kind of GPS tracking and not knowing exactly how to get to him, well, it could have meant the difference in life or death.
Absolutely.
Under this plan, every deputy around us, every officer around, will have a dispatcher that will be able to say, my deputy is right here. Here's the GPS coordinates. Just put them in. Go get my man. Pull him out. It will save a significant amount of time. And as you know, when life-threatening injuries happen, time is everything.
Absolutely.
And another point on that, two more points on that, is in dispatching, of course. If you got a deputy that's in Broken Bow for some reason, wherever they're going, they can, or your Eagletown guy or Hochtown guy, your dispatcher will always know where they're at, and they can dispatch accordingly because she'll know exactly where her closest deputy is.
Sure. What I'm envisioning here, I'm kind of envisioning this in my mind, is the dispatcher sitting there with a map of the county and little dots.
Absolutely.
And these little dots are moving.
Yeah. Dots with numbers beside them, and you'll know 4518 is sitting wherever and loves getting him a cup of coffee.
That's right.
Well, hey, man, sorry, you're closest. Drop the cup of coffee and go to Hochtown. They need back up there. So and it's just it doesn't cost anything extra. It's there. Let's use it. And eventually it'd be nice to go ahead and put them on their vehicles, but that's more of a cost. And I'm not really talking about that a whole lot, but that of course is a goal. But
but most vehicles today are almost equipped with that type of thing, similar to the cell phone situation.
Absolutely, a lot of them already have. So it's technology that's already there. Let's just use it for common sense purposes.
It would move the county right into the 90s. That would just be outstanding.
Absolutely. We're moving away from the horse and buggy age, and I think it's just it's time. Come on. Yeah. And I hate to say this because this part sounds critical, but as the sheriff, I can tell you it would be a great tool if I've got somebody complaining that, hey, Deputy Joe Blow is going home. He'll come out and go 10-8, and he'll work 2 or 3 hours, and I don't see him the rest of the night. Well, then I get to looking and seeing, well, his little bleep, as you put it, is sitting at his house, right, for most of his shift. Well, then I can address that and say, hey, man, unless you got diarrhea, you need to be out working, buddy.
And again, that falls into the accountability.
Exactly.
Folks, we are speaking with Jason Ricketts, who is a candidate for McCurtain County Sheriff. This is a paid political interview. We do want to move on to our third category of your outline and of your platform, and that would be professionalism.
Professionalism. And then this just goes into another ball of can of worms, but it's something I feel very strong about, and that's treating people courteously. That's treating people like human beings. And I truly believe this, and anybody that knows Jason Ricketts and has dealt with me over my career will know that even somebody is making a mistake, they're still human beings. And if they will allow you to treat them with respect, and by God, you owe them that respect. Don't treat everybody like a hardened criminal. There's no need in it if they will let you. Now, trust me, I've dealt with plenty of people over the years that will not let you treat them like human beings. It's hard not to get down their level and do what needs to be done to get the job, if you would. You understand what I'm saying? But most people are not that way. 99% of McCurtain Countyans are not that way, and they all deserve your respect as human beings. No matter if they're making a mistake or not, it's a mistake. Treat them with respect. And when you go to just an everyday call, be courteous, because we lose sight in law enforcement, I think, especially over a period of time, where you forget the people you work for is the people of the community, our taxpayers. We serve them. And, over the years, we got away from that to serve and protect motto that used to be on the side of every patrol car. Mm-hmm. Well, when I win sheriff, there's two things I'm going to put on the side of my patrol cars. Number one is in God we trust, because I want them to know who we're accountable to first, and that's God. And secondly, it's going to be to serve and protect, because as deputies, that second person they're accountable to is the people that we serve. And I want them to know that every time they go out and get in that car. We serve God first, the people of this county second, and me third, because I'm going to get on their butts if they're not doing those Christian things. And another thing in this is just the dress code. And I'm not going to harp on this a whole lot because but my gosh, let's put them back into regular uniforms. Let's make them look like regular street officers. In my opinion, wearing polo shirts is for classrooms. It's for dispatching. It's for being casual.
Disc jockeys.
You got a nice polo shirt on now, man. This is a great. But wearing them on day-to-day patrol activities for these patrol officers, I believe they need to be in uniforms and look the part, man. Because when you get out and you look professional, you've got a clean-shaven face. Then the battle's half over. People look at you and they think, man, this guy's got his crap together. They're going to be less likely to try you. They're going to be less likely to resist arrest because they think, man, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm probably going to get my butt kicked, so I probably shouldn't resist him. It goes a long ways.
Absolutely. And a lot of things you wish to implement that appear to be a very common sense approach.
Absolutely. Yeah, they do. And it's not rocket science. And I don't know why it hasn't been done over the years, other than I just think, well, most people get in office and they feel like, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it, or it's the way it's always been done. Let's just continue to do it this way. Mm-hmm. Well, just because it's been done this way for 50 years or 100 years doesn't mean it's the best way to do it. And we have the technology out here now. Like at first, it would be impossible to move the deputies into the rural fire departments and utilize the space as an annex office because of our oldest program, which is our program that we use to do our reporting system. Mm-hmm. But that's all changed thanks to the good old internet. It can all be done over the internet now. Fact of the matter is, eventually, budget permitting, the goal would be to give these guys access to a laptop and internet connection within their cars, eliminating the need to go anywhere to do a report.
They don't have it now?
No, sir, they do not. And I have said this over a couple times in my speeches at these fundraisers and these events that I've been at, and I've kind of taken a hit a couple times with people saying, well, that's just way too much money. Well, no, it's not. In my pickup right now, I've got a lap. I shouldn't say this. Somebody will probably try to rip me off now, but I've got.
I know a good sheriff's candidate.
Yeah, thanks. Don't give him my tag number. I've got a laptop. I've got a portable printer, a wireless internet, a scanner, and I purchased every bit for my personal pickup for about $600, $700 total.
Well, in your profession, you needed it.
Absolutely, and I call it my mobile office.
Sure.
What's wrong with giving these deputies the same kind of setup? It's $700, and that's I mean, you can go as high as $5,000 or $6,000. I've seen some of these mobile cop things that are really high. But
I'll almost bet you there's grant money available for it.
About 100% guarantee there.
Jason, we need to wrap this up. I know that you're going to have a vote for me speech. So go ahead.
Vote for me because I am a hard worker. And one thing I've never been accused of in my adult life anyways is being lazy. I am hardworking. I will make sure my deputies work just as hard. I'll be in the office early. I'll leave late. I'll be available to the people of the county. I have a heart for the people of the county. I want to do this job. I want to do a good job at it. I promise you I'll give it my 110% best.
If somebody wanted to contact you and visit with you?
Anytime, any place, I'll meet with them. Let me give you my phone number, 580-306-5911. And I'm on Facebook. You can always contact me online anytime, night or day. I promise you I will get back with you. If you have an event, a fundraiser, church event, any kind of gathering that you, especially if you're throwing some kind of a barbecue, let me know. I'll be there. But anyways.
Priorities. I get it, man.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Jason Ricketts, we appreciate this again. This has been a paid political interview, paid for by Jason Ricketts. And we would encourage if other candidates wanted the availability to this airtime, they are welcome to it as well, to have them contact me. Jason, we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for giving me the time, Dave.